You are listening to Viewpoints from PlaceCloud. Cultural researchers tell stories of places from around the world. For the full multimedia experience and to support the creators you enjoy, visit placecloud.io.
Coming by St. Bartholomew's Close in the middle of the 16th century, you might have tried calling on Dr. John Caius. His house was just inside the entrance gate from Smithfield. But if you were in search of that eminent physician, you'd be unlikely to find him at home. One visitor described trying to reach him in 1559 without much luck. I knock at the door. A girl answers the knock, but without opening the door, and peeping through a crevice asks me what I want. I ask in reply where is her master, whether he is ever at home or means to be. She always denies him to be in the house. He seems to be everywhere and nowhere, and is now abroad. On this occasion, Caius may have been out tending to one of his many illustrious patients, amongst whose ranks he counted royalty, nobility, and other wealthy and influential people. From 1551 he rented this house in the parish of St. Bartholomew the Less, close to the court and the city. It was also a handy location for his work at the Royal College of Physicians, of which he was president. Here he spent much of his time advocating for the company in vicious territorial disputes with the barber surgeons, particularly over the kinds of treatments each profession was entitled to perform. Let's step inside his house for a moment and take a look around. In the hall we find a table and chairs, the walls hung with painted cloths, a map, and the royal arms of England, a nice patriotic touch. In the kitchen we find a bed, probably where his obstructive maid sleeps. Upstairs more painted cloths, perhaps depicting subjects from English history, or simply stained with patterns and colours. A guest bedroom has hangings and a painted chest, lots of linen and sheets, and above that is an empty garret. In his bedroom an old feather bed with bolsters and coverlets, and more tables and chairs. Here we also find an old hamper and a great box for writings, the centre of Caius's administrative operations. For Caius was much more than a successful physician. In this house, perhaps in this very room, he concocted a plan to refound and enlarge the Cambridge College where he had once been a student. At first, he approached Gonville Hall anonymously, pretending to know of a benefactor who would donate if they were willing to rename the institution after him. Only when the master and fellows agreed to the terms did Caius reveal his identity as that mysterious patron, and the College of Gonville and Caius was officially refounded in 1558. A year later, Caius reluctantly became the master of his new foundation, splitting his time ever more between London, Cambridge, and the homes of his wealthy patients. He kept his house in Smithfield for when he was in London, but troubles within his college frequently called him away. Complaints were raised about his conduct. He was tetchy and conservative, and seems to have made enemies amongst a hot-headed faction in the fellowship. They accused him of atheism, and also of popery, a dangerous crime at a period when Catholics were suspected of treasonous loyalty to the Pope against the Queen of England. He was accused, more concretely, of preserving copes, vestments, albs, tunicles, censers, crosses, tapers, also all kinds of mass books, with all massing abominations, and termeth them the college treasure. His enemies sent these objects up in smoke, lighting a huge bonfire in the centre of the college court in December 1570. It's debatable whether Caius really was a crypto-Catholic or simply a conservative finding it difficult to move with the times. His great friend Matthew Parker, the irreproachably Protestant Archbishop of Canterbury, supported him throughout his troubles, writing in a letter about Caius that there is a difference betwixt the frailty of a man's mutability and the professing of plain impiety. Catholic or not, Caius was certainly nostalgic, determined to preserve what he saw as an idealised past and record it in annals which he began at both his Cambridge College and the College of Physicians. But while his preservationist urge may have been admirable, in practice he was stupendously gullible. His history of the University of Cambridge begins, quite matter-of-factly, with the mythical King Canterbury and the Age of the Giants. Amongst his other works were treatises on Greek pronunciation and a work titled On English Dogs. Keyes' troubles gradually abated, and he continued to go back and forth between Cambridge and London. But in June 1573 it was clear he was dying. He returned to Cambridge one last time, to resign the mastership of his college and to plan out the location of his tomb in the chapel, which is still visible to this day. This done, he returned to London and died here in his house in Smithfield on the 29th of July, 1573. His body was taken to Cambridge and met at Trumpington Ford, a mile outside the city, by the master and fellows of the college, who buried him in his chapel. His epitaph is brief and final. Fui Caius, I was Caius. But, as he also wanted to remind us, vivit post funera virtus. Virtue lives on after the funeral.